ancestry. I don't know. The last speaker, maybe I should have gone first, but um, all right, my name is Dave, and I'm an alcoholic.
Dave.
And I am sober today by the grace of God and the miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I've not always been here. I was, she was me with only with hair. I mean, we drank very similarly. The story she tells, I can really relate to. I unfortunately tucked it on for another, decade before I decided maybe something could be done. So anyway, if you ever heard me share, just kind of, sometimes it's like kind of jumping into the middle of the river. I'm just talking about wherever I am today, and if you haven't heard me like my home group has, sometimes it's a bit of a shock. So I'll just try to level the field here a little bit before I launch off. But so today, anyway, I'm a member of OSAT, which is the One Step at a Time outdoor club. It's a 12-step recovery-based activity club, and they have a class. They teach people to climb glaciated mountains. And our first class for this year was today, and I was there with like 70, 80 people. So I may have over people today. This pandemic is apparently had some repercussions that I wasn't aware of until today. And what it reminded me of was my life as an alcoholic. I think the last few years, I don't think I've been with as many people as I'm used to, and I'm starting to regress some. I mean, I was stressed today with that many people, which after years of service really, wasn't bothering me anymore. And it's amazing how quick that stuff you start going backwards. If you're not doing what's in this book on a regular basis. And one of the things that Alcoholics gave me was the world. Like Pam, I never felt like I fit in. There was always something wrong with me. I liked to play alone as a child. Didn't mix with other people. And the solution I discovered to that at about 13 was alcohol. It took that away. It made it go backwards, and I could interact with people. I could do small talk. God, I hate that. Alcohol was the only way I could ever do that. To just talk about meaningless crap with people I didn't know, and which I guess is how you meet people and how you get introduced and all that kind of stuff. And so that worked for a bit. Unfortunately, that the way I drank, kind of like Pam, that doesn't tend to get you invited to a lot of places. If you're the sloppy drunk causing fights, puking in the closets and stuff like that, they don't tend to invite you back a lot. And over the years, my world got very small. I finished out right across the river here in Upper Boulevard Park, in a little crack house. And it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was in 1 bedroom and would not come out of that room for pretty much most of the last year of my drinking and drugging career. That didn't happen all at once. I started out like 13, trying to interact with the world, and by the time I got to 39, that's where I wound up, and it was like one little step at a time. There was the party. The first time I drank without adult supervision out of high school. Some of the kids, we got out, I got some booze from the bootlegger, went out there, and I way overdid it, because I'm alcoholic, but I didn't realize that at the time. After wandering out and puking in the bushes for quite a while, I come back in, and they're like, "Oh, party's over." I don't know if it's because I came back or what, but they decided the party was over, and I'm like, "Wait, what? I got money. We could go to the bootleggers and get some more booze," and they all looked like I'd grown a third head, and that was the first time I remember getting the look, that I was a little different, when I started partying. Over the years, I remember getting that over and over and over again. I didn't grasp that, like, those people that had a couple of drinks. My home bar was right down here, next to what used to be the U.S. Bank, that round building. That was my home bar, Louis, 4th Avenue. Um, and I just never grasped those people that would come in there at happy hour and have a couple of cocktails and they go home. I'm like, where are you guys going? I mean, they just brought out the hot wings. I mean, the party's just getting started. We're not going anywhere tonight. You know, we're going to lock the doors at 2 and continue on. I mean, like we're not leaving. I didn't understand those people that like they had jobs like me, but they would go home. I meant to when I came there, but for some reason I just never could pull that off. A couple of beers, and the next thing you know, it's like Friday's now Tuesday, and I didn't mean to do that, but I just couldn't control it, and I had um, like I said, another decade I spent. I had like 1,000,001 different plans how it was going to be different this time. We had the bar in the house for a while because drinking down here was getting me in trouble, and I was getting worried about the driving home. It's several blocks up to West Seattle, so like, okay, we'll just have the bar here, and everybody can come here and party, and I won't get into trouble. I think that lasted like a month and a half or so, and that wasn't working out. I was getting just as drunk. I was actually spending more on booze there because I didn't have to drive or wasn't worried about that. I mean, so okay, we won't do that anymore. Let's try a beer. We'll drink beer for a while. Everything it talks about in the book, I tried all of them, and then it says the ad infinitum. Then I ran through that list too, which is a rather long one. Um, yeah, and I just could not control it. No matter what I tried, I just one thing would lead to another. I mean, I changed people. I tried that. New friends. Well, I don't know if they were new. I had to make new friends. I think what happened is the old ones got off the bus. But yeah, just could not find a way to do that. And I always was going to have fun. I mean, that was the story. Even when I knew that wasn't going to happen. I mean, that was always my intention. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have fun. I mean, especially near the end, like the last 2, 3 years, that was really my goal, was to have fun. And it talks about that in the book. There was that incessant yearning to capture the past. I could not do it, man. I remember one night, um, we're heading out the door. Me and my girlfriend were heading out the door, and one of her friends comes popping up the walkway, and she's like, "Oh," because she's trying to get the party started. Because they know if they give me a couple of drinks, that they can start talking me into making a run over to see the dope man, and then the party's on, and we're all going to have a good time, right? So that's her intention, and my girlfriend's like, "Oh no, David's taking me out to dinner," and I'm like all happy and shit. And I already know, and I'm like nodding my head behind her. Yeah, we're going to dinner, but I know I'm lying. I know I'm lying in my mouth because I know what's going to happen. We're going to get to the restaurant. Same thing that every time happens. We're going to get to the restaurant, and that lady's going to come around with the menus and say, "Can I get you a cocktail?" And I'm going to say yes, right? And then she's going to come back in a minute, take the orders. You need another cocktail? Yes, right? And then she's going to bring the meal, right? And you want another cocktail? Yes, and now we're up to 3, right? Okay, and like then she's going to come back in a bit and check on the dinner. Hey, is everything okay? I need another drink and a box, right? Because now we're partying, right? Okay, so box of the. Sure enough, that's what happened, and I knew that's what was going to happen when I was standing on the steps behind her saying to her girlfriend, "Yeah, we're going to dinner." I mean, that wasn't what I wanted to happen. We had plans, but like that's what happened. And 9:30 we're in the bar, blowing up the dope man's pager, trying to figure out why he's late because he had a special clock. But I knew inside that I was lying when the words came out of my mouth. That's what we're going to do. We're going to dinner. We're not going to dinner. We're going to go far, and we're going to get trashed just like we do every night. And I just, man, it was maddening. I got here. The way I got here, so it was Memorial Day weekend, like Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. May 26, 1998 is my sober day, which is the Tuesday after Memorial Day. And anyway, my buddy who I wound up with, we'd been pals for years, but I wound up at his place when I lost the house. And him and the dope man that had been posted up on the couch got popped on Thursday, and I went to jail. So I got this master plan. This is my last master plan right here. So I'm gonna get my shit together, and I'm gonna get sober over the weekend, right? And I'm gonna do the laundry, I'm gonna eat right, and I'll get it together. And Tuesday I'm going out and look for a job, right? So I get a 3-day weekend to pull myself together here, and then I'm going to work. And it went pretty well through the weekend. On Saturday, I rested up, because I've been on like a 4 or 5 day run before they left. So I needed to rest up. I got some food on Sunday, I did the laundry on Monday. I'm all together. Got some bus fare, set my alarm, got up Tuesday morning, had a cup of coffee going about 7:30. There's a knock on the door. I'm like, who the hell is this, right? Because the traffic's kind of stopped. The dope man's been gone 4 days. So they stopped pounding on the door looking for him. And I'm like, who the crap is this? So I don't know, open the door. Shit, it's the dope man. He's back. He bailed himself out. So by like 8:30, the party's back on. I never went to work. And 8:30 that night, I couldn't do it anymore. I walked out of that place and I told him he could have my room, and I wound up in the psych ward at Harborview Hospital. Just my brain gave out from doing this over the years. I tried coming real close to suicide on several occasions. I remember one night drinking and smoking dope out of the barrel of my 357. I'd take the bullets out, smoke some dope, put the bullets back in, put it back in my mouth, and somehow the high had come off, and I had never sorted out what I was going to do. And that's the only reason probably I'm still alive is that, I think alcohol saved my life. Anyway, I got down there at Harborview Hospital and went in the emergency room and talked to the nurse for a minute. Next thing I know, there's a doctor. There's the fastest I've ever been served in Harborview Hospital, I'll tell you that. In the emergency room, and the doctor's come turning down. He's like, "Come on back there." And they put me in this room in the back. I'm like, "This is weird." They got all these hooks to the wall, this dents and shit. I'm like, strange looking room. But anyway, he went away for a minute, came right back, said, "Yeah, follow me." And so the next thing I know, we're on 3 West, the lockdown ward, and they took all my clothes and he searched me for sharp instruments and gave me this little robe that didn't close in the back and a handful of pills and said, we'll come back and check on you pretty quick. There's a bed. And that's where I was for like 2 weeks. About day 10, they tapered me off the medication enough to where things started working again. And this thing switched on, and it hasn't shut up since. I think day after that, they brought in an AA meeting, and that was my first introduction to AA. I wasn't really tracking that one all that well. But the day after that, they brought up a social worker and asked me what the hell I wanted to do about my problem, which was another revelation. Like, what problem, right? I mean, I'm in the psych ward at Harborview Hospital with a robe that don't close in the back, and it wasn't until later I discovered there were pants that went with that outfit. But anyway, she's asking me about, I'm like, what problem? When the social worker's talking to me, and it's just the drug and alcohol problem. Like, it was like totally obvious to her, and I'm like, huh? Like, oh. So I never considered it to be a problem, right? I mean, like, that's my solution, right? I'm gonna be a problem, and she said, yeah, that, and I'm like, I don't know, because I didn't have any more plans. I'd used them all up. The last one was to go get a job, right? That was the last plan I had, and so I took their recommendation and wound up out at Cedar Hills for like, I don't know, 100 and some days. And Cedar Hills is where I got introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous. They had meetings, that came in there almost every night of the week, like we do over at what they call Cascade now. That's where I met the people who introduced me to alcoholism, pointed out that I was an alcoholic, and I really, like Pam said, I caught alcoholism in AA. Listen to them share. I couldn't hear it from the counselors, but I could hear it from the alcoholics because I knew they were like me, man. I can tell my kind of people, because I'd always hung with them. I hung with them in school, I always hung with alcoholics. I could see what they knew what they were talking about. The shit they said, they've been where I'd been, and they somehow solved it. You could see it in their eyes. Their eyes were bright and shining, and I'm like, I hadn't seen that in a long time. I mean, because I was just surrounding myself with people like me, so I'm like, I had one counselor that was kind of going to be close to where I was getting out, and so I asked her, I'm like, where in the schedule book are these meetings where these people come from? And she showed me a few. She said, try these. And so when I got out, I tried those, and that's where I found a guy to sit me down with the book, and show me, where the solution really is in this book. So I don't have to do that anymore. It was some work, not easy. It's fairly simple. I didn't believe it at first. That's the solution, because those people are coming into the treatment center, right? And they were telling me it's in the book, Dave. I'm like, all right, so I read the book, but I'm reading it like a motor manual, right? I'm like, okay, brakes. I want brakes. Okay, so like you want to fix brakes, you read that chapter on brakes, right? I mean, like, so okay, there's a solution. Well, read the chapter on there is a solution. I read that thing. The solution's in there. It is. I know where it is today, but like it's 9 pages into the damn chapter, and they bury it in 2 sentences down the bottom of some page. It's not obvious, right? That there is a solution. What the solution is. I totally missed that without a guide, because sobriety for me was a foreign land. And anyway, I got with that guy. They started having me do simple tasks at the home group, like pick up chairs and follow them over here and stack them up, because that's about all I could handle. Right? I had about 11-second attention span at that point. At like 3-4 months sober, and then they graduated me to washing coffee cups, and that's where I started to regrow into the world, because I love that, because we'd stand in a row and wash coffee cups. And it gave me a chance to talk about something besides me, because I never handled that. I mean, they had this greeter at the door when I came into the home group. He'd always ask me every how you doing, Dave? And I'd go home and just think about that for a whole week, right? Fuck, I don't know how am I doing, man. I didn't have a good answer for that. So I'd come back next week. I had the answer for last week, but I don't know how am I doing this week. I couldn't answer that, right? But we could stand in a row and wash coffee cups, right? And then I could do that chit chat shit. I learned how to do that to coffee cups, because we talked about something besides me, and I was all right. And slowly I'm making these little baby steps back into the world, rejoining society. And then they let me secretary of the meeting, and then I made a mistake. I wandered out. I was going to, well, I had to go to a lot of meetings, because like I was living in this 14-foot trailer behind my mother's. At 39. So, the trailer would get very small with all the voices, the conversations going on in there. Seriously, it was crowded. I'd leave the TV on, so they'd drown off half of them, but the other half were driving me crazy. So I went to a lot of meetings just to get out of there. And one of the meetings I was going to after I'd been secretary was this other meeting, the Traditions and Steps, on alternating Wednesdays. And every meeting there seemed, this older lady was sitting right across from me from when she made this announcement, like, I've been the secretary at this district and the treasurer for the last 4 years, and I ain't doing both jobs anymore. And she kind of looked right at me. And I think I took I took several months. I think I did really well. I mean, it was like getting interrogated by the police. I several months before I finally broke down and went like, so what's this secretary thing? So I just figured myself a secretary gig at my home group, and I figured, well, I mean, like, can't be that bad, right? Well, this district thing was a whole different animal. I'm going to tell you, I really wandered off the reservation with this. My home group, they like to go to jail and carry the message in there, and they like to go to the treatment center up here in Cascade and carry the message in there. But they didn't do any of this really. Just we had a TSR that went over there and kind of brought back papers, but there wasn't really any interaction. It was a little different, and so like I'm lost out there. Like I have no idea what I'm doing at the district, and so I had to get somebody to kind of show me that. Somebody who had some experience in the service structure. Fellow's still my sponsor today. So strangely enough, like one thing leads to another, but my world's getting bigger now. Now I'm getting out, right? I'm going places. The DCM, he kind of takes a liking to me because the district's got about 4 people, so there wasn't a lot of other choices people alike, right? Service up District 31 was a little slow when I first got here, and so we're trying to get the business done. So he starts taking me with him. We've taken, we'll go to the other committee meetings and take notes and bring them back so that the information's get to the groups. And my world got a little bigger yet, and I know, oh man, there's AA everywhere, right? I mean, we're rolling up down the state. I didn't realize it was bigger than just that church where I was going at first. I mean, we had the church where I was going, and there was a couple other halls that I found, and now there's this district he's talking about, and somewhere along the way I picked up that there's a larger structure here, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy, and I heard Leonard Blumenthal was chairman of the board at TSO in my first conference. He told us, like, the sun never sets on AA, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty freaking heavy. I mean, like, that's big, right? I mean, the sun never sets on AA, and I got thinking about that. He's right. I mean, like, today you use especially present. I mean, like, a couple of weeks ago, I was in a meeting with a guy in Australia and a guy in like Switzerland, right? And they're like on different ends of different days, and they're all up for this meeting. One's going to bed, one got up really early. But that's crazy that the thing is that big. But it was little steps. The same way I didn't see them when I was going the other way, right? As an alcoholic going backwards into that small little room, shit just kept slipping away, or I'd trade it, I guess, however you want to look at that. I'd trade away this so I could go get drunk, and I'd trade away this so I could go get drunk. And, that's what I was down to. And I didn't see it going that way, but I saw it coming out, how my world was getting bigger and getting bigger and getting bigger. And, that was I don't know, that was a real spiritual moment to stand up in the General Service Conference and say, here, for all you guys in Western Washington, right? I mean, there's like 30,000 alcoholics, and I'm the dumb fuck they sent. This is crazy. I'm going to get found out here anytime, I'm like, but it's true. Just one little spiritual step at a time, following what was in this book. I can go all over the Western United States, find people in meetings that I know now. I got phone numbers. Somebody called me the other day, said, I got a guy that's going to like Florida. No problem. I got a guy in Florida. Let me get you the number, right? I'll look at my phone. I get the guy the number. That's how big my world has gotten. And I hadn't realized like it was starting to shrink again until I got to today out there in public. And the Zoom thing, the little dollhouse windows. I mean, it's fun and all that, but like it ain't the same. It ain't. I can't. There's something about me. I can't feel you through those windows, right? I mean, I can really feel a room when I'm in a room full of Alcoholics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. Like we're in a business meeting where I can feel how the room's doing. So we got this thing we do here. It's called PRASA, the Pacific Region AA Service Assembly, right? They got like 800 or so alcoholics that are in service from all over the 15 areas in the Pacific region. Will get together. It's kind of like a college for people in service. Like they have workshops for all the different areas. Like there'll be workshops for corrections people, workshops for public information people, workshops for area chairs, that sort of thing. And then they have panels. And like at the end of that meeting, they have a big meeting where the trustees, the past trustees share. And like when they close, right, all 800 people come together and close that event down. You can stay in the room after they've all left and still feel the energy. It's crazy. At least I can. And that's what I've been missing, I think, with this pandemic. Now, fortunately for me, I'm not one of those fellowship sobriety people. I have a program out of the book that I actually use. I mean, I don't come here and just talk to you about what I do and then go home and do whatever. I'm doing what's in this book like I learned to do, because that's the only thing I know that keeps all the voices in my head calm and quiet. Like I said, about day 10 out of the psych ward, that thing switched on. Like Pam was talking about, I'm like, you're not good enough. Don't do this. Why'd you say that? It just keeps going, right? It's still happening. I'm almost 24 years sober, and they still talk to me up there. I don't think, haven't been restored to sanity. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but I'm running out of runway here pretty quick, so I'm not sure that I'm ever going to close the gap from where I'm at to where in the space I've got left. So I'm beginning to get worried about that. So I'm dealing with it, but like, you know, I can at least keep that calm down, tamped down, and a little arrested through actually doing the stuff. And it's really gotten. That was one of the things that when they shut us all down, like 2020, and we all had to go home, and we didn't know what we were going to do. That I really had to start digging into that stuff because the voices really came back, and I really had to start, you know, following the instructions on 11, right? Pay attention to what happens exactly when you wake up, and then, you know, pray about it and listen for the answer, you know, and then do something about it. Praying more regularly, all that sort of stuff has become more desperate because I was missing that fellowship side of it. You know, I mean, it works. I mean, they were talking about having 3 alcoholics. You know, we've got folks like that in remote communities that like they're by themselves in Alaska. You know that they can make this thing work. So it does work that way. But I really the fellowship part was the part I missed. I think the most because I didn't have that as a kid. You know, and once I discovered I was missing it, it's become important. So that's probably almost enough out of me. I don't know what to do to end this up, but I don't want to stay here beyond my welcome, but I do appreciate y'all listening. I'm grateful to be here and grateful to be sober. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave.